Okay, so what's going on with the market here in California and in the Central Coast area specifically? Let's check it out. Let me share my screen here, and we're going to take a look at really some interesting information that I wanted to share with you all. This is a Realtor.com report that just came out, and it's really interesting because it's talking about the housing market predictions and that costs aren't coming down. And that's pretty much what we're expecting. We don't expect prices to be tumbling down. We know people have been calling this out for the last 5 years. Every year it's going to crash, going to crash, going to crash. What we're seeing right now is actually this article words it interestingly. It says the Fed is navigating the economy to a softish landing. Now that may or may not be true, but in terms of housing prices and what we're seeing, we may not see a huge run up in prices that we saw in the spring and in the summertime. So I would expect that what we will see is more of a balancing of the market. So I like what this says here. They word it differently than I would, but it says if home shoppers and sellers have unrealistic expectations, they could find themselves in a stalemate in the year ahead. The 2023 housing market could become a nobody's market, not friendly to buyers nor to sellers. All this is a neutral market. It doesn't mean it's going to be a buyer's market or a hot seller's market. It's really just a traditional neutral market, which is a kind of a time period that you have between any movements in the market. Now, what this does do is it will allow consumers, like it says, who are ready to challenge for the challenge will need up-to-date information on market conditions, creativity, and flexibility to adjust, and a healthy dose of patience, of course, in order to create the success. So what this means is I would recommend contacting your realtor, staying in touch with me. You can go to my website, gomezhomes.com, and at the top there's a subscribe to my newsletter where I put out weekly information, videos, information, and of course on the YouTube channel you can look through my history. There are specific market areas, and if you're moving to any part of the Central Coast, I cover different cities, different zip codes, and what's going on with the market in each one. So hopefully that's informative to you as well. But let's take a look at why I'm saying it's going to go neutral on us. If you take a look at this is just for San Luis Obispo County. We have, you can see historically what's happening here. Let's let that refresh here. So median prices, well, let's take a look at this. This is all nationally here. So nationally, what you see is what we're seeing right now. See this upward trend through the spring and summer? We're seeing the same thing. Upward trend, spring and summer, 2023. That was 2022, going up. 2021, when it was just coming out of the pandemic. We can see market did the same, going up and up and up during spring and summer. And then what happens in the fall? We see a slight decrease. So this is where I'm feeling you could be safe to assume that we're going to see the same sort of trend across the board when it comes to the median sale prices. So prices historically tend to soften in the fall and winter. And that's just a seasonality of the numbers and the reality of what we see in the area. So if we did this for each of the counties, we're not going to do it now for time. We're going to keep the video short, but you can look at, again, go to my newsletter, gomezhomes.com. At the top, there's a button to keep in touch, subscribe to my newsletter. You can do that. And there will be more information there. You can also look at my YouTube videos, like I mentioned, and those are going to have specific areas and how they're doing. But take a look at this. So this is all the metro areas. It gives us a real good idea of what's coming in the spring and fall. So I don't call it a, what did they call it in the article here? It was called a nobody's market. I call that a neutral market. Anytime you have homes that are on the market, 5 months or less is a seller's market. If there's a inventory, we call, if we have inventory that's going to take us 5 months to sell overall on the market, we're considering that a seller's market. When we have 6 months of inventory of homes stacked up together, then we call that a neutral market. And then anything over 6, 7 or more months of inventory that we say we have on the market, then we'll call that a buyer's market. So I call it more of a neutral market, if you will. And how does that translate to you if I'm a buyer? If I'm a buyer, what that means is, guess what? I'm going to have homes to go look at with you. So we'll go look at several homes rather than just maybe having 1 or 2 homes that maybe pop up and are available. Then we got to go rush and see them and put our offer in because there's going to be multiple offers. That's a seller's market. So I think a more neutral market allows for more of a regular pace or a traditional sale area where we can go look at homes. Sellers, if they price correctly within the market, they'll get a reasonable price for their home. So, and vice versa, if we see a buyer's market, is when we see sellers chasing a market downward and prices are falling. So we don't have that scenario. We have not seen that. We did see it a little bit when interest rates spiked last summer, and we saw that here in the wintertime. So rates went up, and it was actually in 2021 towards the end, you see this downward trend. But again, it was seasonal. It was just a little deeper last year because of the fact that interest rates were rising and everyone was just hesitant and pulling back a little bit on the purchasing and even selling. You know, a lot, as we know, as you know, many sellers are sitting on great interest rates of 3% or less, some 4% or less. So where do they go? Where are they going to sell? So they're sitting tight, and that's what's limiting our inventory on the market. So hopefully that's all informative to you. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. You can reach me on Instagram at any time as well, and my number's down below, and the information will be below and at the bottom of the video as well. Thanks again. Take care.